Hello, I'm Scott Corgatelli. I'm the principal of Snake River Opportunities High School, and I just want to share a little bit about our school with you. Um, I'm going to put on some slides up here, tell you first a little bit about me. I am married and have three amazing kids. Right now, my boys are seniors, and my daughter is 9, and you can see my beautiful family there in the center, and my wife and my daughter, and my sons and I as we were out hiking. And then, of course, my bestie on the left there is my pooch. Um, his name is Axel. I will talk about him all the time. He's my hiking buddy. Um, I just love to camp and be outside. We love fires and um, love snowshoeing with my daughter. And you can see our other little pooch there. Her name's Misty. She's a Chihuahua, so she's not really a real dog. All you Chihuahua lovers might fight with me a little bit about that, but she is high maintenance, so she got every little coat on. Like I said, I love to hike, and this is one of some pics from my trip this last summer out at Lake Solitude and Tetons. I'm actually seeing, yeah, so there's one picture on there of the Tetons from the backside where we were camping. There's some stuff I'd like you to know about Snake River Opportunities High School, and maybe you don't understand all these pieces, and maybe you have a general idea because you're returning. But I just want you to remember that we're a mastery-based, student-centered, teacher-supported school. And I want to give you a little bit of a drill down on each one of those topics. So basically in mastery, we want you to know that the idea here is that you can advance at your own pace. Um, you just need to meet the criteria for proving mastery, and then you can move on to the next topic. You work with your teacher to match the work you're doing and your personalized tools you get to choose with our frameworks for learning. That's kind of the responsibility. I'll give you a little bit more of a drill down on that. But our goal here is to say that you aren't held back doing work that you already know how to do. And you don't get a bunch of busy work in our program. So what is mastery? Mastery is really just this balance of this triangle. And as you can see on this triangle, that there are three sides, obviously, that makes a triangle. And the thing you want you to remember is that a triangle, if you move one side, make it longer, and each part kind of counteracts each other. And so it's always a triangle. So sometimes you're going to have a different mix of these types of things. And I forgot to change that again. There's a word on here that's not correct. But I want you to know one part of our mastery triangle is called discrete or quantifiable knowledge. That means we can point to it and say, yes, that is the right answer. Sometimes this means you get like 100% on a test or a quiz. Or it could mean that you were able to answer all the math questions that were given in your project correctly with the right answer. But that really doesn't tell us teachers, because we don't get to interact with you on a daily basis, if you actually understand it at a deep abstract level where you could apply it in a new place. So we call that quality, abstract, and deep knowledge. So that means that your teacher needs to be able to see that you understand the concept, not just got the right answer. Because we don't hit you with a bunch of extra work. So you have to demonstrate that you understand at a deep level how something works and why it's important. And that's where the bottom part of our triangle, probably the most important part, where it says parent-student interaction, that should say teacher-student interaction. And this usually means that you're going to get some feedback from a teacher. Almost everything you submit to us will be returned to you with some questions. And these questions are designed to help us understand if you have that deep abstract knowledge or if you are lacking some clarity and if you do some discrete knowledge where you can point at the right answer. So just be aware that almost always get your submissions sent back to you asking more questions and identifying all the places you're doing very well, obviously, as well. One of the things about our school is not only are we mastery based, but we're student directed. That means that we're not going to give you step A, step B, step C all the time. In fact, we provide so much freedom and flexibility that you need to own your own learning. And that's what a real learner does, is starts to say, well, I want to learn about this, and this is how I'm going to get there. And that's our goal, is to give you those skills. So we start by giving you a lot of freedom in courses and course types, the tools you use to learn, and the ways you submit that you have learned. That's called an artifact of learning. So every student can create your own path, your own pace. The flexibility comes from your ability to create your own course schedule and the due dates you want, and the order even you do your courses. So, for example, you could do all of your math in a few weeks, or you could do all English for a few weeks, or you could just stagger things like all math on Monday, all this on Tuesday. it's all up to you how you put those pieces together. And like that little picture shows that you can flip each part. Our school allows you to do every single course, every single credit in a different way if you decide that's what you would like to do. And that's where we talk about the freedom in courses. So we can move all the way from a very highly structured environment all the way to a less structured. You might have one class that's very structured and one that's less structured. In fact, for new students, we pretty much suggest and ask that within the first couple years of your being here, you take at least one IDLA course because they're highly structured and we know the content gets you to where you need to be. So on our outside providers, they're fairly structured, which means that they're going to handle it much like a regular school would. You do this material, you do this work, you do these quiz, you do this test, and you get a letter grade on the outside of it. And that also goes for dual credit courses and our BYUIS partnership, which is brand new this year. We're kind of excited. And then we have this being across this spectrum, highly structured to less structured. So we're going to be moving into structured tools that are mastery based. That means that the content teachers have created this framework for learning, and they also give you then some recommended tools that they know will align with those frameworks, and they can help you path those out, exactly how to meet all the topics for your courses. The next level is that SROHS unstructured tools, and again, that's a mastery-based course. So that means you have to master the material before you move on. So you're going to use your own 21st century learning skills and meet the mastery criteria that are in that framework through your own research and discovery. That means it's not patterned for you. You might just go search in the internet. You might be able to find a tool that you like. I know that a lot of people, they have the crash courses on YouTube, and those are very helpful to meet some of our criteria. The highest level of unstructured stuff in our school is what we call project-based. And this is where you're working really hard to find ways that the learning you have actually has a project with it. And many of our courses will provide some examples of those projects, but we will be having times when you can meet with other students who can tell you how they're meeting some of the topics that you need to that are required. And our goal here would be that you find ways to do multiple courses, topics in one project. So for example, you might be researching something about the Civil War for your history course, but you might also find that there's some economic impacts when the United States went off the gold standard later in time under FDR. So then you do the research on that and you turn it into this presentation that you deliver via Zoom or Google Meets. And you can turn that into both English and into your speech class if you had those classes. So now you've met criteria in 3 different courses, but at a very deep level, and you're getting feedback from those 3 teachers to meet those criteria. So as you can mix and match this. You might have an IDLA class for your English class, but you might have a highly structured SROHS class for, say, science, a science course. It can be all of those things. We also give you lots of flexibility in your learning. So while we hold to a standard completion rate, we'll give you a pacing guide. You need to have this percentage of your topics completed by this date, and so on. And that's kind of one of these calendars that's shown at the bottom. But you get to create exactly what you're working on in that calendar. And we don't force you into any sequencing or order of completion. You can choose which class to work on and how fast. You also have the ability to choose which learning tools work best for you, as long as you're meeting the standards that we've talked about. Now, math is a little bit different, so we'll be giving some math guidance in a little bit in the future. On top of just kind of that student-led piece, we have a teacher support network that's super good. Our teachers are amazing. You have a content teacher, a mentor teacher, and you have your home base, which you meet on Monday or Tuesday with every Monday or Tuesday. And we also have open calendars, which I'll show you how to access in a second, where you can get some one-on-one tutoring or group tutoring. This year, we're starting seminars, and so these seminars will be times when you get to meet with other students, learn about one of the topics that the content teacher is sharing about, and then brainstorm some ideas on what to do to meet that criteria or that topic. We give really structured frameworks that show kind of are vague, but open enough, not vague. They're specific and yet have lots of room for flexibility in how you meet them. We also have several courses that have what we call course guidance, which give you general ways to meet understand what is expected of you. For example, they might have a recommended tool. So our teachers will help you find that path. That's that SROHS structured type of course. So now I want to make a quick transition into orienting you to our orientation course, Google Classroom, all things Google, and our website. So I'm going to quickly go over to our website first because I want to show you some things there. This is our website. It's if you type in srohs.snakeriver.org, you will find our site. It'll redirect to a different name. You can also find it from the Snake River School District site. When it comes to this site, this is the page where it starts out. There's some header stuff that's here that's interesting, but there's also this scroll down on the left that helps you navigate. But what you need to see here is two things. This is some questions and answers that you might have. So you could look through these questions, click on any one of them, and it'll take you to the answer that we have to that question. You click back on the home, it'll go back to the beginning. In addition to that, we have the students and staff information. If you hit the quick links thing down here, it opens up a large drop down. The first thing I wanted to show you is this Google cheat sheet. So if you click on the Google cheat sheet, it opens up a document where you are able to look at all the different tools that you might need. So you don't know how to use a Google Doc, for example. You could scroll down once this loads up. It's taking its time today. But you could go under Google Docs right here, and it'll give you lots of information on how to use them, how to cite tools, how to turn it into a PDF, how to add comments, how to share a doc in an email. You could also learn a lot more about Google Classroom here under this column. There's just a lot of information in here. So then there's some help on using technology, and I don't think those need to be that. These are not what I thought they were. Maybe they are. Oh, yeah, so you can get some tech help, math help, English help, science help, history help, other primary stuff there. We also have some other things you should know, learning tips, digital citizenship, full walkthroughs on how to use your calendar, how to take tests better, back to school tips, important other links that you might find interesting and helpful for you over the course of this year. The next thing I wanted to show you is newsletters. So every Monday, there's a new newsletter. You can see that these ones are pre-filled, but they aren't there yet. There's nothing on those pages, but you will get a newsletter, and most of the time you will get an email from your mentor teacher sending you a link directly to it. But if you needed to find it, you could also find it on the side. I don't know where it's at. Newsletters used to be on the side panel. It's not now, so you'll have to just kind of dig around. We'll figure it out. And I'm trying to figure out how to get back to the radio. Oh, it opened just another drop. Okay. And the next most important thing is this contact us page, and it's also on there. But you'll see a picture of all the teachers and staff. You'll find their email address, their phone number, and an appointment calendar. This is the most important thing for you. If you need one-on-one time with the teacher, you can open up that particular calendar. This is my calendar. And if you hit the next available slot, for me, this says our SRHS intake. That's where we were taking students from the Snake River High School. But most of the time, it'll say mentoring time or tutoring time or office hours, and you can click on a teacher's. So you can go to any teacher. They probably don't have many right at the moment, but if you click on the appointment calendar, you'll be able to click on there and see what available time. See, she has some mentor time on 8/24 available. That's Mrs. Jail. Okay. Right now they all have Zoom rooms underneath, but we are going to be using a lot of Google Meets this year. So once you set up your calendar invites in the appointment calendar, they'll assign a Google Meet to that calendar invite, and you'll be able to just link in through your calendar. So that's all the stuff there. Oh, now I'd like to show you Google Classroom. So I'm going to just go into my drive, click on this thing we call the waffle, click on Classroom. I have a lot of classes, so don't be overwhelmed by it because I have every class in our school. But we're going to just look at orientation for now. The first tab is called the stream, and you can see there's usually some updates here. Under classwork, you're going to see the things that are due for you. This year, there's going to be information about school contacts, getting started in Google Classroom, information about PowerSchool. Also, this is where this welcome letter or email video will show up, is under this welcome tab. But these are the tasks you're going to complete over the course of your orientation. Choosing a mentor, making a learning plan, learning more about mastery, learning more about becoming digitally literate, creating your learning plan, and then how to be successful in our school. So There will be tasks with each one of those. So for example, if I click on how do I choose a mentor, you can see that the goal here is I will understand that learning is done best in the community, and mentors help bring wisdom to decisions. So to begin, start by working on the orientation checklist. How do I choose a mentor? So each of these tasks in orientation have a checklist so you know what you've done. You can just click off, you'll make a copy for yourself, or it automatically will make your copy and it's shared with the course, and you can check off, and then if you have a link that goes with it, you can put it in that box. All the other resources for this particular section are listed underneath. This year we have created some pieces here that say your topics and reflection. This will make you make a copy and it'll keep it in your classroom drive, in your Google Drive. And there'll be places you can type in your specific reactions to these questions and reflections. I'm sure there will be more questions, but you can definitely talk to your mentor about those things. And it looks like Mrs. Whitworth, Mrs. Munoz have already put in their introduction video, so you can help you choose a mentor. Okay, friends, that's a lot about introduction to the orientation, Google Classroom, and some other Google things. There are some things I'd like you to think about as you come to us this year. And this is going to be ultimately the most important things for you. Communication is absolutely essential in our school. You need to be able to communicate with your teachers back and forth, schedule appointments, respond to your Google Classrooms, respond to emails. So you should check your Google or Snake River email address daily while you're in course, and also looking into your Google Classrooms when it's given. You're going to create and follow a plan for each course, and you really should follow it to keep yourself on your completion rate so you can keep on pace to graduate or head to college, whichever is your next step. You also need to understand what mastery is and achieve it. And that also goes back to our communication, and this feedback fuels growth. Mastery in our school requires responding to teachers' feedback. You will not finish out a course without it. And then finally, you need to use your learning funds for learning. We give you some funds throughout the course of the year to be able to use to pay for tools, experiences that are learning experiences that should be connected with the coursework you're currently enrolled in. But we also have the great experiences that we're working on this year. And so areas hopefully will have different face-to-face experiences where you might be able to be together, but we'll also have a full school experience at the end of the year as we go for some national parks where you can earn 3 college credits and 2 high school credits for science. It'll be one of the main topics in the next few weeks, but you can use your learning funds towards that. Of course, in your Google Classroom, you'll all be entered into the SROHS community, and you'll be able to find your personalized learning budget. We're also trying this year to get your Power School to show your learning budget, but we haven't quite got there yet. Maybe it'll be when you finally start school. Finally, I wanted to show you emphasize the 4 main goals of our school is to make empowered to live, learn, earn, and serve. And that's what all of our teachers are working for. Here's my personal information. If you need to take a picture of it or a screenshot, you should right now, so you can always get a hold of it. Thanks for sitting through this long video, but we look forward to an awesome year.